Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or good afternoon, good evening, depending where you find yourself, or good morning. My name is Emmanuel George, and welcome to another edition of Liberian Rise, the program that brings news discourse to the Liberian social media platforms. Today is going to be another important, interesting discussion. Liberia has been trending throughout this week, throughout the world. Almost every major news network had Liberia's trend based on the president's visit to the White House. So last week we had a section where my co-host, Mr. Sharif, was here with me, and we had a great conversation around the president's visit, anticipating what will happen, analyzing what Liberia had to gain from it, and what was the expectation of the government of the United States of America. Now that that meeting have taken place, the president has visited the White House, from which Liberia is training. We have now come on this platform today to again have a conversation. So you are welcome to be a part of this discussion. Join us on Facebook, YouTube. Those of you who are joining us on Freedom FM 87.9 Monroe, Liberia, I welcome you in a special way. You can call us. You can send us text messages. You can definitely send messages on your Facebook page, on our Facebook page. Let's have this conversation. How was that meeting? What do you think about it? I'm going to be joined by Dr. Positive. He's going to be in here with me. We're going to have that conversation together. But we invite you to join us. So again, welcome to this wonderful edition of Liberia Rise, where we look at President Joseph Yimam Boakai visit to the White House in the United States of America, the visit to the African Summit, the impact of that visit, the impact of his conversation with U.S. President Donald J. Trump, and how Liberians in the world is reacting to that visit that have been trending since Tuesday this week, Tuesday, Wednesday this week. It has been trending almost everywhere. Liberia may be the most hit research page on Google, because all over the world people wants to know about this wonderful country that President Trump was talking about. So we start this section by going to the video with President Boakai having his conversation with President Trump at the White House. It seems like we are not getting the sound. Still, we have the video, but we're not getting the sound.
Who's not hearing the sound? Because I have the video with audio. Let me stop my screen again and share again. But they're supposed to be sharing with audio.
Yeah, I'm not hearing it on this end.
All right, let me do something again.
Okay. So we're going through some. Just bear with us, those of you watching us on Facebook, YouTube, and FM 7.9. We having some difficulty getting the sound out. We want to work on that now so that you can be able to hear the conversation. For those of you who have heard it over and over, it's just an opportunity again to get back to this conversation between President Trump and President Boakai at the White House.
All right, so Dr. George, you can continue. Let me stop sharing and I'll reshare.
Okay. Okay. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, on this, our country, our president got an invitation to attend the African summit, which we discussed last week. 5 African countries were invited by the White House, giving a special invitation to come and have a conversation here in the United States of America at the White House. The summit was to last from the 9th to the 11th of of July, and our president, His Excellency Joseph Boakai, was invited, and on the 9th, President Boakai and his entourage arrived on the premises of the White House. Was greeted by the chief of protocol of the White House. Okay.
Let me try one more time again. If it doesn't work, then I'll just play the audio from my phone.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let me congratulate you for your recent celebration of your 249th anniversary. We did in Liberia at your embassy. Mr. President, we thank you for this opportunity to be here. Liberia is a longtime friend of the United States, and we believe in your policy of making America great again. And we also go a long way with you in your diplomacy that has to do with economic development and commercial friendship. Liberia has a lot of minerals, and one of the things we ask as good friends for a long time is the opportunity to do a survey of our minerals. Mm-hmm. And also we are committed to peace, and we've been very lucky within our region. We are a country that have had a series of democratic elections, and our country has been cooling down. And also we want to encourage American involvement in the investment in Liberia. Yeah. We'd like to see that happen. We want to work with the United States in peace and security within the region because we are committed to that. And we just want to thank you so much for this opportunity.
Well, thank you. It's such good English, such beautiful. Where did you learn to speak so beautifully? Where were you educated? Where?
Yes, sir.
In Liberia.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's very interesting. It's beautiful English.
Sure.
I have people at this table can't speak nearly as well, and they come from.
All right. So that's it, folks. Dr. George, I'll let you go. And I mean, just for me, like I was saying, when I heard this video, I as a Liberian, I was proud to hear that Trump is happy to hear us speak. And people have a whole lot of way of responding to stuff, right? Some people are taking this negatively, some people are taking this positively, and I think I'll be one of the persons on the positive side. For me, I see this as an opportunity for Liberia. Our English is better than many other countries in Africa, first of all, and then around the world, we have companies that are countries that are supporting the U.S., providing tech support for the U.S., right? And when you call those people, you can't even understand their English. Even us, Liberians, can't understand them. So I think this is a good opportunity for the president or our government to reach out to the United States and say, hey, can you start a tech hub here where Liberia become your tech support, where we can support the U.S. if there's a technical issue around the world. In the U.S., we can be your tech support, and we basically already know how to speak English. So all you have to do is to train our young people to become tech support for the U.S. And I think that would be a win-win situation for both countries. So that's my take on this. If Liberia can take on this opportunity and just tell Trump, hey, bring a tech hub to Liberia, I think Trump will move to do that.
Well, that's a good take. That's a good take on it. Dr. Positive. Your point is Well
Well
taken.
taken.
So,
So,
I mean,
everything
positive
positive
and there
and there
are
are
negatives.
negatives.
So, highlighting the positive is very important. We can see that, and it have generated a lot of things. So, agree. On the first hand, Liberia was well advertised this week. Whether you like it or not, Liberia was trending in every community. Liberia was trending. There was a video made by a friend from Sierra Leone who said, we should not give all the praise, the heaps of praise to Liberia because Boakai started his education in Sierra Leone. He learned how to speak good. President Boakai learned how to speak good English in Sierra Leone.
All right.
But Liberia was trending, so that's positive. I mean, any good financier, any good marketer, anybody, those who are working in our tourist industry, this is good for Liberia. I mean, Liberia is on the map. People are googling Liberia. There's tons of YouTube videos, Facebook videos that have been made since Wednesday on Liberia. So that's positive. We are trending. But on the other hand, many of us who have lived in the West or have traveled as Liberians received this question. The question was not strange to me. It was surprising. It was shocking, but it was not strange. Why was it surprising and shocking? Is because one would expect that at the level of the presidency, you have had enough briefing from your ambassador in Liberia, from the embassy in Liberia, there is enough briefing for the president. Second, from your team, your strategic team, those who encourage the president to send out this invitation, may have briefing about Liberia. And third, the protocol when the protocol should have also briefed. Before President Boakai went for this meeting, he had a meeting with the U.S. Under Secretary of State for African Affairs. One would expect after that meeting, which took place, I think, a day before the meeting with President Trump, that the U.S. Under Secretary of State for African Affairs may have also related this to His Excellency, the President of the United States of America. So that's why it's shocking to me. But it's not surprising. We get these kind of questions all the time. You get into areas, people ask you, wow, your English is so clear. Where did you learn English? And, because of the limited knowledge they have about Liberia. So many of us have faced that. But I'm just deeply shocked that at that level, the President of the United States was not briefed. But that was not the part of the video that got to me. Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
No. So I see a lot of people talking about that, right? And that's why I'm saying people will decide which part to dwell on, right?
Yeah.
That Trump didn't know much, and knowing Trump talked on the fly, right? So even if he was brief, right, the fact that he had two presidents that spoke and they had translators, right? That automatically maybe got to him, and President Boakai just came just in time to say, "Hey, I'm from Africa and I speak English," right? So he had, and everything happened for a reason, right? So Liberia is being highlighted, and if Trump didn't say that, Liberia probably was just going to President Boakai was just going to make his statement and walk away. But the fact that President Boakai came just in time after two other African leaders spoke and they had translator, I think that got to Trump, and he was like, "Me, I got to say something about it. This is brilliant English. How come he's from Africa and he speaks English?" So I think that was a great highlight for Liberia. And one thing I wanted to take from President Boakai's message. Most of the other presidents went all around the world, right? They talk about Iran, they talk about Ukraine. President Boakai just went straight to the point. And he was like, "This is where Liberia is. This is what we need. This is how we want it. And this is the help we need from the United States." And I think that was brilliant on his part. But all in all, my take from that would be that as a country, Liberia, we need to either come up in a way to hire the right people to say for the resources. The one thing that he asked, and I thought was like Liberia was begging for help again, was the natural resources, that we need some other country to come and do a survey on the natural resources we have. Why can't Liberia say, all right, how much would it cost for us to bring people to the table to come and research our resources, pay for that, right? and anyway, we'll go into that later on. But I just that's the only negative thing I saw there, that Liberia should be asking for help for somebody to come and survey our resources. I think that's where the president disappointed me a little bit. But you go ahead, sir.
Let's take it back for our audience that's listening to us in Liberia on YouTube, Facebook, and on Freedom FM 87.9. I would like to. It's good that we make this emphatically clear. President Joseph Iman Burka, the president of the Republic of Liberia, was not the first president who President Trump spoke direct to on camera to say that he was speaking good English. When the Chancellor of Germany visited a few months ago, and he spoke in English, President Trump also made the same remark that he spoke good English. And this is part of the Make America Great Again agenda, making English at the forefront of foreign policy and encouraging those who speak English to speak the English language properly. In fact, during the campaign, President Trump was questioned why there were people living in the United States of America that had to speak another language out of English. And many of us know that in states like Texas, Florida, New Mexico, Arizona, most of those states have the second official language, which is Spanish. So, but President Trump did question that during his campaign and asked why should that happen. So, on the one hand, we want to make this clear to you who are listening to us that President Boakai was not the first head of state to have been confronted with speaking English. It did happen with the Chancellor of Germany when he visited the U.S. But yes, looking at that meeting and watching the video that was released on YouTube and have been released in various ways, yeah, there are certain things that I myself found very, 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 very disturbing. You know, I'm not disturbed by asking for the mineral mapping of Liberia, because the U.S. did that for Liberia in I think the 1960s. The only geological map we have in our country was done by the United States of America in the 1960s. That map has not been updated since the 1960s. We, as a people, have not been able to do that. I think during the presidency of Charles Taylor, he started a hydrocarbon agency. We should have spent money trying to do those mapping, but we did not do it in Liberia up to now. And that we are concerned or thinking that we have additional mineral resources besides what we have, and we are not too sure where all our mineral deposits are. It is extremely important and extremely necessary for us to do that geological mapping of our resources. But I agree with you that as a sovereign country coming to another country to kind of request for them, I don't want to use the word beg, but a request to them is disturbing in this 21st century. Because as President Boakai himself noted in his remarks, that the United States of America have moved itself away from charity diplomacy into trade diplomacy, commercial diplomacy. What you have to offer is what we want to have conversation around. And the primary reason why the 5 presidents were invited was because of what you have to offer. And Liberia Mineral Reserve was one of the major things for which we were invited. And I do not believe in the remarks of Mr. President of Liberia that he actually emphasized Liberia mineral wealth, the need to partner with companies in the United States of America, and then what opportunities Americans will have on mining in Liberia. It's one thing to say, oh, we have a lot of minerals, but we should be able to go as far as saying these are the opportunities that American companies will benefit from, that Americans themselves will benefit from this partnership and from this relationship. So that's the point I had on that. I will pass it on to you, Steve, for whatever point you have. I have 2 more points that were disturbing, but I think at this time we can after you make your remark, we can also look at a remark from the U.S. ambassador in Liberia, was responding to this meeting in at the White House.
Okay, yeah, and I think the points you raised are great. And as African countries, like I said, I applaud the president because he was straight to the point. He didn't care about the. I mean, he may care about it, but like the Ukraine, the Russia, and all the other things like the other African countries spoke about, he was like, "This is we here for business. This is what we want, and this is how we want to do it." And like you rightly said, Liberia, when we're reaching out to these places, I don't know how the presidents travel to these events. Like, we should go with our proposal and say these are the areas that we need immediate investment. When we leave in this country, should be leaving with some kind of agreement with few companies to say when the president come back, these are the companies that are following based on that visit. You understand? Like the way Liberia is trending right now, I'm hoping that by the time the president left the United States, he had 10 or 15 companies that said, hey, we want to know what we can do to help Liberia. You understand? And it should be based on what he's requesting from the U.S., right? Like you said, we have diamond, we don't know where it is. We have gold, we don't know where it is. We have bauxite, maybe we don't know where it is. So if he's leaving the U.S., how many companies are following him to say, hey, I'm going to help you to go and do that research, and this is how much it will cost you as a country to do that research. And then if you can pay us, then we can start the discussion. I think that's the level of discussion we should be having as a country. But let me play that video for you.
Steve, that's the mistake. That what you said is right, but that's the mistake many of us make. That's what we think happens. It doesn't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
In this meeting in international relations, we call it summit meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Summit is a meeting at the pinnacle. Before this meeting took place, we should have had our team in the U.S. having this conversation with different ranking officials, different companies, setting up a trade summit, which President Boakai attended, by the way, but we don't know the outcome from that summit. Mm-hmm. Setting up a trade summit besides this is at those places these decisions are made. But when presidents meet, the presidents meet to actually end discussions, to bring discussions that have been held behind the scene in front of the scene and bring it to an end. So I agree. There seems to be nothing that have taken place, but took place. Before President Boakai left Liberia on Tuesday, July 8th, there was a 1.8 billion concession agreement signed between the government of Liberia and HPX. And many commentators are of the views that this meeting was set up by HPX as a way of solidifying their lobbying skills with the Liberian government and trying to point out that they do have a high rank in the White House by the name of President Donald J. Trump. So that could serve as a means of President Boakai and the Liberian government thinking twice in the agreement with HPX, because that agreement took a very long time. It had been on the table for years before it was finally signed before this meeting.
All right. Yeah, and let me play the ambassador respond. Then we can talk about it in a little bit too. But yeah, I see people are commenting, so we'll probably come to your comments shortly. Let me just play this, then we'll come to your comments shortly. Okay.
The most stable democracies in the region. So, let's not try to understate Liberia's importance. And I think President Boakai was very eloquent in his remarks with the president yesterday. And I think this speaks to Liberia's rising stature, both as a strategic country where it sits within West Africa, as a regional voice. Let's not forget that Liberia is one of the strongest democracies. As I said, and I've often said this, Liberia since 2003 has had 3 peaceful, credible elections, 2 peaceful transfers of power, and has 2 ex-presidents, former presidents who live here. That's a statement for an African country to have made, and for any, frankly, democracy to have. So Liberia is an important country, and I think there was a recognition of that. But when I'm tired after an interview, you've done a good job. Thank you. Yeah, thanks, man.
I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you. Look, that meeting,
All right. All right, Dr. George, I'm back. Let me hide this. And I think we got one more last video that we'll show later on from President Boakai's return home after the media in Liberia asked him. So let's talk about the ambassador, Dr. George. I'll let you go first. So give your journalist analysis of it, and then I will come in.
No, the ambassador is right on most of his points. He's right that we have strategically placed ourselves as one of the entrenched democracy in democratic country in West Africa, in Africa, not West Africa, in Africa. We have two living presidents, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and President George Weah. And they both presidents live in Liberia. Most countries that have living president, they are in exile. But we have two living presidents that have the residence in Monrovia, Liberia, do they travel a lot. And our presidents are being called for different. President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is an eminent person. It's the International Monetary Fund eminent person, the World Bank eminent person. She's a Nobel laureate. She has been called upon by the African Union and ECOWAS to mediate after her tenure, mediate peaceful agreement. She was there in the Gambia for the successful handover of power from Yahya Jammeh to the current president when there was a state made. We are recognized, we are respected. Senator Edwin Snow, who is at the ECOWAS Parliament, represents ECOWAS Parliament at most elections right now. So at the level, yeah, democratically, there's a strong respect for Liberia. Strategically, yes. But unfortunately, and I did this some time ago when I was writing my master's degree, strategically, I believe that Liberia is not actually putting on the table another strategic point. And that is one, we are the only country on the African continent that have extreme love for the United States of America. So we should start having this conversation of seeing how the U.S. government can put the African command in Liberia. That conversation started with the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government. I don't think the two governments, the government of President Weah or the government of President Boakai, were interested. But this is an opportunity. There was something who I placed on the table. That's a strategic point. So instead of having the African command somewhere in Europe, and for years, the U.S. government, since George Bush, when AFRICOM was announced, the U.S. government have been trying to find where can we locate this in Africa. Liberia is a perfect example. So we are strategically placed. We are a perfect example when it comes to removing oil. The shortest distance to move oil from the African continent is through Liberia. Liberia oil take a shorter for a tanker to move oil from Liberia to the United States of America than many other countries. So I agree with the ambassador. We are strategically placed. We are a strong democratic country. But on the other hand, we must recognize that we to develop this nation called Liberia, we need to make sure that we are able to articulate our strategic stance and our strategic positioning, which will influence U.S. policies to Africa.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. George. I think that's why I say you put your journalist spin on it before I come in with my layman perspective. So from the layman point of view, right, somebody will say, we have Firestone in Liberia for over 100 years. Liberia haven't benefited nothing much from Firestone. Every time we go to the U.S. praise us, and the U.S. gave us all these good accolades and stuff like that. But what is the U.S. doing for Liberia? What is the U.S. doing for the little man on the street that doesn't have a job, that is looking for a greener pasture? What is the U.S. doing? All these things that we connect with the U.S., we help the U.S. to do so many things in Africa. But what is the little man benefiting from these kind of connection with the U.S.? So that's my question from the little man perspective, Dr. George. I'll let you chime into that. Then we can start responding to our listener comments.
What we benefit depends on we are the one who's supposed to develop our own strategic interests and make sure other countries sees that and allow people to benefit from it. So what do we benefit as laymen? Let's start, for example, during the Liberian civil crisis, some of our brothers here in the United States of America was able to convince the U.S. government of Liberia's relationship to the United States of America. Therefore, under the government, I think, of George Bush Sr., we had a resettlement plan that was put in place where thousands of Liberians that live in the United States of America and have become citizens of the U.S. today came through the resettlement program. So that benefited Liberians. So some of you in Monrovia right now that go to Western Union or Sendwave or wherever you get money from your family in Liberia, I think about 40 to 45% of the family came in this country through the resettlement program in the 1990s.
Mm-hmm.
We have the visa lottery, where again you have a good percentage of Liberians migrated to the United States of America who won the visa lottery program. So those are things that benefits. Then here in the U.S. for almost every year, even in this current government with many countries like Haiti, I think Nicaragua and other countries losing a temporary protected status, like a status. Liberian temporary protected status have continuously been renewed almost every year by every successful government. So that means that our lobbyists in Washington D.C., our Liberian communities here, has been able to successfully convince the U.S. government of Liberia partnership with the U.S. That's why you continuously to have TPS renewed. And even in the first Trump administration, every Liberian who got TPS from the time TPS started in this country when Liberians started coming here under I think first President Bush here, up to Ebola, were granted pathway to green card and citizenship by the first administration of President Donald J. Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So which also took place because of Liberian lobbying, especially through the Minnesota Senator Reed, who was able to lobby Congress to create that pathway to green card and citizenship for Liberian TPS holders. So yes, we have benefit here and there. So when you go to Western Union or Sendwave or wheresoever you go and receive remittance, it is possible that those people who are remitted. And then again, as when Ebola took place in Liberia, Liberians who came here during Ebola, there are many people who have come into this country with crisis in the country, hurricane and other things taking place that were not granted or status to be in this country. But those who came here in Ebola, President Obama passed a special TPS for those Liberians who were here during the Ebola time to be able to stay in the U.S. And that TPS was taken to a higher level by President Trump. So we should take all that into consideration. But it is not the duty of the U.S. government to work on the interests of Liberia. It's for us, Liberia, to know what we can benefit from our relationship with the U.S. And that's the reason why we need to think strategically. That's why I expected that President Boakai not only put in mineral that looked like a bucket, something asking somebody to come, but she also pulled forward that you want one of the things that you want us to receive your deportees. We don't have the security and the manpower to take off our own country. We cannot secure our own country. We may not be able to receive that. But if you think about putting African in Liberia, perhaps we can have that conversation. Because when Africans come to Liberia, jobs will be created, structures will be built. There will be a lot of income that will come, that will benefit, that will trickle, that will benefit every Liberian in that country that is involved in business and other things. People who will be supplying the U.S.
Yeah,
so will come, and then where they will develop the base, that area will become developed. There will be electricity, 24-hour electricity in that area, and Liberia will benefit from it. A second, finally, and then I end. During the regime of President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the United States of America built a $230 million embassy in Liberia. That embassy was not built because they love us. It was built because there was something strategic that the Americans were seeing, and that's the reason they built that $250 million embassy in Monrovia. We have to think as Liberian scholars, as Liberians diplomats, whatsoever level of strategy you are, to think behind the reason behind the building of that embassy and how we as a people can now benefit from that by us putting something on the table.
show on screen. Yeah. So thank you for that, Dr. George. And I mean, you talk about mostly people in the U.S. sending remittances and all those kind of stuff. But my question was more towards a little guy on the street, the Zogo on the street, the person that don't have job in Liberia today. And we travel to these conferences. We hear all these big news and things like that, but does that really translate into jobs? Who's counting to say already, based on these 100 conferences we attended, these connections we made, these are the jobs that are coming because of those connections. So for the little man out on the street, I just want you to highlight quickly so we can play the president respond.
Yeah, but
what is the turnaround, like when we make these connections, what benefit does it do in terms of job creation for the little man in Monrovia?
Yeah, Dr. Positive. When we have a country that have an unemployment rate where 70% of our employable youth cannot be employed, and you have every year perhaps 1% or 5% of those who apply for visa lottery wins the visa lottery. Those people who come here to this country and are serious are removed from poverty. So that little man on the street that was walking on the street that had no plan or no hope of getting a job, paid some money and did a visa lottery, and he found himself relocating. But how about the gentleman who is running that computer center? When it's visa lottery, thousands of people who goes there, who pay for time being behind the computer, who pay for printing those documents, and then there are people who go to the Ministry of Information to get the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to get passports. So those people also pay to get those passports, money go back into the economy. For those people to go and get a passport, they have to go to the gentleman who take pictures, to take their passport side picture, to take to the embassy. So those people also get money from that. But foreign policies or these conversations, they are not a overnight things. Some of these things are 5 years plan. Some of them are 6 years plan. So that's why government is a continuity. It doesn't end after one government. So whatsoever meetings that President Salif had, we may be benefiting from that right now. Whatsoever meetings President Burke we have, we may be benefiting from it right now. So President Boakai meeting, you may not see an immediate change in an immediate outcome, but that outcome may be experienced 6, 7, 8, 10 years from now, and that will be that is important. But we have to now this concession agreement, the $1.8 billion concession agreement. It is the Liberian government, our legislature, who has oversight, our ministries who have oversight that should ensure that whatsoever was in that agreement is benefiting the people. We have the problem right now with mental steel. I think mental steel gave Nima County $1.5 million to $3 million every year. They also give Grand Bassa County about $1 million to $2 million every year. That money is supposed to be benefiting the people of Nima County, benefiting the people of Grand Bassa County. Are they benefiting from it? So we should be asked, our representatives should be asking, when this money was given to Nima County, what did Nima County do with that money in the last 2, 3, 5 years? So if you calculate 3 million by 5, that should be about what? You say 15 million.
15 million, yeah.
In 5 years, that 15 million I keep the Nima County. What was the improvement we see in Nima County? In 5 years, the 5 million I came to Bomb County. What did we see with that 5 million? That's the thing we citizens should be asking. All these strike action going in the street is fine, but I think the new level of advocacy that we Liberians have to invest money is suing our government, going to the court so our government can tell us what they are doing. I think we should start putting money into those things. We should start paying lawyers who are just on a standby to sue our government to give us this $3 million that came to Nima County. We sue Nima County so that a Nima County superintendent can report to us as to what she did, what has been happening with those monies that have been placed in the economy in those.
So that the judge, that I will pause on that to play the president's remark, and that will be another show for another day, because what kind of power the superintendent have to even hold that money that you're talking about? That's the question I would like to ask, but I'll let you hold your answer for another day, because that's a show for another day. Because let me play the president response, then we can go talk about it. Hold on, where's my audio? Hold on. Let me see. Okay. All right.
Yes, where we think about Liberia first, and to make sure that we acquaint them with what we have and the way we're going to do business. And I think it was a very positive move, because it's important for them to know how we are thinking, that we are not talking about aid, we're talking about trade and investment.
Mr. President, my name is Daniel Theophilus Koo, and I report for Koo FM. We saw you in the United States when you visited President Trump. You talked about the U.S. coming over to do a survey on the natural resources. Taking you back to your State of the Nation address, you told the Liberian people that the Chinese conducted a comprehensive survey, Mr. President.
I didn't say comprehensive. The survey was done on 2 counties. We have 15 counties. While we ask the Chinese to continue, we also ask the Americans. We want to know what we have to plan for it. And so we are open. We don't have the technology. We don't know how long the Chinese will take. But our interest is to make sure that we know what we have.
Mr. President, my name is Regan Esteban, and I report for the Liberian English agency. So, upon your visit to the U.S., you have been broadcast all over the world on BBC and Al Jazeera and other media outlets. So, what does it mean for our country, Liberia, and what exactly is going to bring to the table for Liberians?
My role is to sell Liberia in a positive.
All right. The thing Facebook can give you. Anyway. All right. So, Dr. Judge, let's get back to that. So you heard the president respond. Let me close this up. I think I'm done with all the videos, so we can get back to. Yeah. So you heard the president respond. Basically, like what we're saying. He's selling Liberia. He said in his last remark, he said he's selling Liberia. And someone asked, was it a comprehensive analysis the Chinese did? He said, no, China just did only 2 countries, and we, not 2 countries, 2 counties, and we want the whole country to be surveyed. And like I said in the beginning, should Liberia hire or even create a firm or create an entity in Liberia that will now go and research our natural resources, that will be the one to even start pricing our natural resources and things like that, instead of waiting for us to get China to come and say, oh, I see y'all have this here, can I mine it? Then we bring American people and say, oh, American see this one or that they're interested in, and now they say, we find it, can we mine it? Should it be the other way around, where Liberia actually hire a firm or hire some entity that can come and do the survey, we pay them, they let us know what we have, then we go to America and say, hey, we found diamond in Grand Gilead, we found bauxite or we found uranium in Grand Gilead. This is how much it will cost you to come and mine it from us, right? Then anyway, I will stop on that thing. Should we go that way, or should we go the other way the president is saying? That was my question to you, Dr. Judge.
Well, the president was clear that in his mind, that we do not have the resources to conduct our own geological mapping. So therefore, he needed the Americans to come in and help. And when the journalists cornered him, that he also said the same about the Chinese, the president said, no, the Chinese have only two counties they are covering. It needs someone to come and cover the 13 other counties. And that, again, that's one of the challenges we have in leadership in Liberia. We have smart people in our country, very respectable people, brilliant people in our country. But we need to have leaders who think, who thinking and thought pattern is economical. They're looking at the economy and what can benefit us. What can we do? What can we sell? All this banking thing now is not working in the world. President Trump has made that clear. It's not working. We have to sell ourselves. We have to bring something to the table. We have to be able to go into partnership with these companies that can do this work. Definitely, yes, we can offer them something on the table, but at least they will do the work knowing that they have been hired to pay. And then after that, as you say, we could go forward with that. But no, you cannot trust the Chinese to come and map up. They won't give you the full story. When you pay for something, you get the results you pay for. But what I also see in the president remark is a president who was summoned to the United States of America, who the U.S. government made clear that they are not happy with the increased Chinese influence in Liberia. And the president is answering that question to show us that he also got that marching order, that the U.S. is not happy with the increased Chinese influence in Liberia. So he could definitely say, okay, the Chinese have only two counties, we'll call the Americans to do the rest of the Tahiti. So that shows a limitation, the president limiting Chinese influence in the geological mapping area to only two counties, and hoping the Americans will come here and do the rest of the county.
All right, Dr. John, let me just make this announcement. So, folks, again, thank you for watching Liberia Shall Rise. This is Dr. Positive and my co-host, Dr. Josh here. If you want to call in, the number is on screen, 682-503-9906, and we are on Freedom FM in Liberia. I think it's 87.9. You can also call in on Freedom FM and we'll let you through. But this is an interesting discussion. We want to hear from the little people on the street. We want to hear from the big guys in their offices to give your point of view on the president's visit to the U.S., what benefit it brings for Liberia, and as a country, what should we be doing when we travel to these international countries? How should we present ourselves as a country? So this is what we are discussing, and you're hearing our point of view. We want to hear yours too. So if you want to call in, the number is on the screen here. You can call in. All right, Dr. Josh. So to what I said though in the beginning, what do you think about Liberia becoming India of the tech support for Africa, where Liberia actually represent has a call center that folks in the US can call in, and our English-speaking kids can actually answer the question. Even some kids in Liberia speak more serious than me, who've been in America for all these years. You understand? What do you think Liberia can do to sell that aspect of our country to the rest of the world and say, hey, if you want an English-speaking country that will be a tech support, Liberia is ready. We are equipped. Our students understand English. They eat English, like we usually say. So you answer quickly, then I'll take this caller. Huh?
Well, I think it's a good idea. It's a great idea. I think it's a beautiful idea, Dr. Positive. I think call centers is great for Liberia. It's something that we can promote and sell. We have smart people in Liberia who articulate the English language much better than many of us on this part of the world. The issue is that how many of them are around? And we are glowing in this new training thing, Liberians speak much better English. But we must also know the fact that President Boakai's time was in the 1970s and 60s when he went to school. Since the 1980s, we have had civil one conflict of the other since 1985. In the 1990s, we have had civil crisis. So yes, there are smart, articulated Liberians in the country, but we should also not put on the table the fact that our educational system is not the same as the time that President Boakai went to school.
All right, that's a great point. So we have a caller here. Let me take the call, then we'll continue the discussion. So hello, your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, my man, how you doing? It's me, Russell. Everything.
Not bad, brother. Welcome back. Welcome back. We miss you.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you guys for the calls and everything. Yeah, at least by the grace of God, yeah, things getting better.
Oh, that's good. That's good to hear. All right, our listeners are ready for you, Riverside Pro. Go ahead.
Yeah, so thank you very much, guys. This is an interesting topic. I'm very happy to be back. So I want to, a little bit on the conversation as far as the beautiful English thing is concerned. So before I ask my question, let me just take it on a lower scale. The network, your network. Before you bring a guest on the show, be it Dr. Robert or the other ladies or anyone, you guys always do your research and know exactly the colleges where they've been, the era of, their career thing. So most of the questions, as far as I have been on your show, most of the questions you ask is within that boundary of the president of the school they went to, the era of specialization, where they travel and other things. So having said that, you look at the president of the United States. You look at Liberia that have prided itself as the small America in Africa. And you model everything by the United States. And so much so that you ain't got no culture, no tradition when it comes as compared to Nigeria and Ghana, their wedding and other things. Almost 20 of your 26 presidents were from the West agent of the American Colonization Society. All your major cities in Liberia, the Picano, the Monrovia were named after former American presidents. The Robertsville, like almost all your things, when you look at your place of allegiance, like look, you are more colonized than even the people that were colonized by Great Britain. So don't you guys find it embarrassing? I know people say, I know that the president say, oh, I'm happy that we're going. Don't you guys find it embarrassing and disappointing that this very United States that we have modeled ourselves upon, that they don't see us, that Trump doesn't even know that Liberia, the official language of Liberia is English. I think that disappointed that Trump doesn't even, probably don't even know of the existence of Liberia or our proficiency in English. Isn't that a disappointment to you guys? I mean,
so Riverside Pro,
that's just my question.
Riverside Pro, let me answer your question. And for me, I like to look at the positive side of things, right? Something have to happen for people to know you. There are so many Americans that never been to Africa, and if I really check, maybe Trump is one of those. Trump was born with diamond spoon in his mouth. He never had no reason to go to Liberia, to Sekpakong, or anywhere like that. So you can't really blame him if he even read one history about Africa ever in his life. But as a president, I agree with you that the president is supposed to know stuff. But again, I'll put yourself in Trump's shoes. This guy was sitting there, two persons spoke to him and they had to use translation. So right away when the other Papa came and the Papa English was just like, he owned the English book, the man was excited. So out of his excitement, he had to do something that was not according to the book. You understand? Like even if people told him that Liberia is an English-speaking country, I know the White House does briefing when people are coming and they probably brief President Trump on it. But I think at that point, even if they had made Boakai first to speak, maybe he wouldn't have said that. But after the two people spoke and the Papa was suffering to hear the man, he was like, no, the Papa, his English good. He eat English. So let me make him proud. I think. So I'm happy that he made our president proud. The thing I'm wanting is for Liberia to become the tech hub for the United States. And I will keep saying that maybe I need to call Trump himself and tell him, say, now that you like our English, right? Now that you like our English, can you help us to make a tech hub in Liberia? Dr. George, what you want to say about Riverside Pro?
Riverside Pro is making a great point, but you got to know that is us Liberians that makes Liberia to look so significant. Think that Liberia is so significant to the Americans, and we should to the point of understanding that that is not true. I live in rural America. Many of the people are in the if I take the map and put a big map in front of them, they will not even find Liberia. The same way how Hitler was looking for it, they find it. So we believe that we are little America in Africa, but not that most Americans don't even know we exist. And as I said at the beginning of the show, I have traveled different parts of this country. My English is not as clear as President Boakai, but I've been stopped and been asked in interviews and other things that ask, oh, your English is very clear. Where do you learn how to speak English? And in as much as in your brain you think it's insulting, but you look at the environment and especially those who also work in rural America, you look at the environment and think and say, okay, these people, and there's a Nigerian parable that says that if you have never, a Yoruba parable, I think, that say if you have never left your father's village, you would think your father's farm or the village or compound is the biggest in the entire world. And that's why you experience if you encounter people in rural America, most of them have never left this this area. In fact, most of them don't even know the next big town that is close to them. And so you don't blame them. And I don't blame. It's possible at the level of President Trump, we believe the U.S. ambassador to Liberia should have briefed the State Department. The State Department should have briefed the White House. And even before the meeting with President Boakai, the day before, President Boakai had a meeting with the U.S. Honor Secretary of State for African Affairs. He was also in that meeting with President Trump, one who had assumed that he would brief President Trump about Liberia and Liberia connection with the United States of America. It's possible he did. It's possible he did not. But again, every one of us know President Trump. President Trump speaks his mind as it comes. And at that point in time, even if he's brief, maybe that what came to his mind, that this gentleman is speaking good English. Where did you learn English? We trained it. We are still training with that. We are enjoying the popularity. My hope, I'm just praying that the tourism ministry or the directorate is making a lot of videos from this thing so that we can promote Liberia and have people come visiting the country.
One video that is trending that I'm enjoying, people going online and say, I'm Liberian and I speak good English, So I think that the tourism industry in Liberia can use that and sell Liberia to the rest of the world too. But that's go ahead.
Thank you so much. We're glad you're back and strong. We wish you all the best of blessings in your recovery process.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you very much, guys. I will be following.
All right. So as River Says Pro Drive, he just puts this important question. He said, what is the importance of Liberia Geological Survey? I know there was an organization called that. I don't know, do they still exist? Are they still functioning? If they are there, what is their role if we have to hire America and China to do the research on our resources?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's going to help us to know where our resources are. We don't know where our resources are. We have people coming, and we still using the map from the 1960s. The world have changed since the 1960s. Technology have advanced. We have drones. We have drones now that going to various places to give us the real map of things. That's why it's important for us to have a new survey. As I said, during Chancellor administration, he started the Liberian hydrocarbon, an institute or entity he started was on the old road. It was one of their duties. I don't know how far we have followed up that, but that President Boakai brought to the table is great. I don't like the way he put it on the table, but it's very wonderful that he has put it on the table because we really need to map up where. If you go to Bombing County, let me say Bombing, in Babulu area, people who are mining diamonds and gold, they just walk and try to find which creek had diamond, which creek had gold. You're lucky you find it. Mm-hmm. But with this happening, we will be able to know where they are. We'll be able to know how to get revenue from those areas. The Ministry of Mines will be prepared. the Ministry of Labor will be prepared and will be able to invite investors based on where we think our mineral resources are, what minerals we can find there.
All right. So quickly, Dr. George, as we wrap up, I just want you to give your final word to the common people on the street, and I'll respond to Sis Elizabeth comment here quickly before I turn it over to you. Like Dr. George says, Sis Elizabeth, a lot of Americans, even in my field that I work so many places, and people don't know anything about Africa. We learn about America when we're going to school. We learn about the world geography and all those stuff, but not a lot of people in America learn about us. And like I said, Trump, basically, he's a president, but again, Trump talk off head sometimes. He talk what on his mind. So Trump may not have known about Liberia, or even if they told him about Liberia. My point I'm making is Trump was in a situation where two people spoke foreign language and he never understood them. So Liberia just got lucky to be the next country in line, and Trump said, I will just praise the papier for the English that he speaks. And again, Trump with his lifestyle, I don't think he ever visited any country in Africa. I could do my own Google search, but I can come back to you and tell you maybe Trump never been to Africa. Dr. George, go ahead and wrap up the show. But thank you so much. This was a big discussion.
He did say he was open for an invitation to Africa, and I hope Liberia will be the first country that invites him and we get our acts together so he can see a nice country, or else he's definitely going to tell us how our country looks. But ladies and gentlemen, also Facebook, YouTube, Freedom FM 89.7 in Liberia, 87.9 in Liberia. Thank you so much. We have been having a conversation around President Boakai's visit to Liberia, to the United States of America, especially the White House. Liberia has been trending. I hope we make some money from it, and I hope our tourist industry will boom after this. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening. We'll meet next week when we're going to have our guests, the Mayor Wayman Collins will be joining us on This Could Be You. Have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.
Dr. Joe, one last thing, folks, please click the follow button. We begging you, please follow and share. We talk about a lot of great things. Dr. George bring great people on here to talk about Liberia, things that are benefiting Liberia. So please follow us, and we'll end the show. Thank you again so much. We need your support. Just follow, like, and share. Follow, like, and share. It won't cost you anything, nothing. So again, Dr. George, thank you so much. Have a great weekend, a week ahead, and all the best to you and your family.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.